we have that
Right.
month, we could spend out of that $70,000.
Some of it could be next year, it's hard to say.
But we don't know what the cost is gonna be at this point.
We don't know what the design's gonna be. I mean, I've talked to a couple people, and one person actually in town that I've talked to, and he has a very good idea. of
For
design
short
plan
money.
For
Yeah.
not too bad, and
Yeah.
it would be beneficial to the town and everybody else, so.
Well, let's talk about permitting expense.
Right.
If, regardless of whether we need
The
permits.
permitting expense is based on the project that's done. That's
Right.
the issue. So we have to come up with a project and what they want the end result to be, and then you'll do a permit, because you can't do a permit for something that then you
Right.
design's different.
Right.
Could you, in this contact of yours, come up with
Somewhat of a
an
design,
an
yeah. I mean,
estimate for our next meeting?
Wouldn't be an estimate, it would be a design, and then you'd have to go through someone who would do the state permits and some of the design work, and then you can get a price on the project itself.
So I don't think we've got, I think it needs to be outside the budget. It needs to be in that $70,000.
Well,
Or just add a little bit for design, or I don't know.
We've got,
Take the money and plug it into those lines.
you know, once we have the information, the budget may not be complete for the year at that point.
Right.
And we might, but, you know, is we're looking at the two areas. One is at Lake Road, and the other one is at Union Wharf.
Correct.
Both of those would need probably a
They both require.
a state permit.
Both require
and
dredging,
a
both
dredge.
requires a wetland permit.
Right, right. So, and the cost of those is determined by the
By the
scope of the
design.
project.
Correct, by the
Okay.
design. I mean, obviously, you can design something that'll cost $500,000, you can design something that might cost $150,000. Just same thing with the boat ramp we had done. I mean, that original design, we got an estimate for was $160,000 just for the boat ramp. We did it down to 25.
Yeah.
So do we want to pick a number for these two lines? And we're going to offset it with revenue. Obviously, it's going to skew the budget a little bit, but the 70 has to come in as revenue.
I just don't know
Well,
what
70's off budget, so if we do it.
70 is its own.
If we do it out of that 70, that's a whole separate off budget piece.
Do we have to have a,
It
do we
doesn't
have,
appear
do we
here.
have to have a concrete figure today, or can we wait until the first meeting in January?
No.
Okay, let's assume that we're going to do this off budget. At some point in time, we still have to account for the money.
Correct.
Yes,
So-
right, but it's not part of the operating budget.
Okay.
And my understanding is that there is a separate account that's set up with that money in it now.
Right.
And that as we
Probably
use
through
it,
the treasurer or something.
yeah, as we use it, you know, we account for it into that. So at some point in the future, you can look at what's there, and you'd end up out of that with a detail like this. It says, here's how it was expended.
I mean, because we have ongoing maintenance and stuff with the wharfs and all that, I was just thinking of putting a little bit more money in there for the permitting and that type of thing.
Right.
Well-
Well, we have a permitting line.
When I look at the detail for this year that we've spent, all right, 8,700 out of the 10,100 is for two items. One is the design of the repair on Sodom Road, and the other one is the dock work at River Reach. Okay, those two items
Right,
are
and that was-
$8,700.
And that just came out of the blue, that was really never planned.
That's right.
Either of those.
That's right. But we still have, beyond that, about, what, $1,500?
And I don't know what
That we
Jim
spent.
spends. Yeah, I
Well-
spent those 800 and almost $900 for a bubbler and a bracket. That,
Yeah, well, you didn't spend, it's not in here.
well, it will be.
Okay. All that we've spent in here this year, you got electricity we spent,
Mhm.
you got maintenance work,
They fixed some of the boards and.
no, mowing and trimming is charged into here.
So are you saying that the $5,500 is a good number for next year?
At least, I'm thinking,
Yeah.
you know, even if we take all these extraordinary things out of there, you identified some things that we need to buy.
Mhm. Yeah,
And we have ongoing expense every year,
Right,
electricity.
electricity and the mowing and all that,
mowing
and
and that.
maybe just, a sinkhole or two that needs to be filled in because they're deteriorating, but you just can't let them go. It depends what the guy
So-
decides it likes to do.
Right, I mean, the only other part of it is the permitting part. And if
Right.
you wanna leave that line with funding in it,
Let's-
we're gonna
Correct.
use some of
Yeah.
that for permitting.
So, I will move the budget for other highways and streets at $5,500 for
I have a-
2018.
I'll
Is there a
second.
second? Under discussion, how much are we putting in there for Sodom Road Bridge and related expenses?
Nothing.
Okay.
Well, we've already encumbered or spent the design money.
Okay.
And the,
So we're not.
No, we've
plan-
already spent design money.
right.
We're not looking to have any more money spent planning repairs or
Well, we've got a
unforeseen-
permit that wasn't included in that, which I think was some figure $1,400 or something.
Okay.
So, I don't know that we're.
What we talked about when HEB was here on Monday is three things. Bid package and monitoring bids. And that was like $7,000, somewhere about that,
Right.
okay? The project monitoring while the work is being done, and that was like another $7,000, $8,000. And so that's, let's say $15,000 in expense that they are estimating, plus whatever the work going on
Plus
in
the
the bridge
design work
is.
they're doing, yeah.
Okay?
Well, plus the cost of the work.
That's what I say, plus the actual work. It seems to me that all comes together as one project. If we're gonna go forward with it, it's gonna be like, plunk money and these are all the pieces. Another thing that I think is a question, we bought design work from HEB. Often it makes sense to use a different party to do
Do the
the
inspection.
project monitoring while it's being done than the guy that did the design work.
Yes.
Just as a check.
We did the same
And-
thing on Line Pond.
Yeah, and the other thing is, $15,000 or $7,000, whatever it is, maybe it makes sense to look at somebody else, to get an estimate from somebody else as to what the getting the piece ready to do the job is.
The end result of the design work should be the same. The way of getting there is a lot of times different.
Well, a perfect example is Lake Street. Benchmark came in with a $385,000 project, but they wanted to make everything dry.
But I think you're right, it ends up being a warrant article. This
Right.
isn't something we're gonna do
Right.
this year.
I have two other issues, should we put money aside? Has Dave Wentworth contacted us with an estimate to preserve County Road Bridge, to treat that, Karen?
I don't know anything about County Road Bridge.
Okay, he was asked, I asked him to submit a proposal. That bridge was put in over 10 years ago and needs a code of preservative. I mean, we're not talking millions of dollars, but the other thing is, I got a copy of the email from Bob McWhirter about Lake Road ramp. Are there any issues there?
No.
You saw his response,
Nope.
it was in the correspondence file.
Yeah, I was
Okay.
going from my phone, I don't know where it was.
Okay.
Probably New York.
No, I didn't see that. Okay.
So, do we want to put money in here for the county road timber?
Preserve. Painting or whatever it's called.
And if so, I mean, what are we talking, $1,000, $500?
Should be over $1,000. I mean, it's
So-
not get done in a couple, 3 days, so.
Right.
So you're gonna modify your
So
motion?
I will change the motion to $6,500. Let's split $4,000 docks and bridges, $2,500 for permitting.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0.
And, you know, everybody has to keep in mind that between now and when the budget is finalized, if we have information that causes a significant change, we can reopen, we can go back at it, but it keeps us moving forward.
Excuse me, did you say that was for timber preservation?
Yeah, it's
Yes.
Per survey.
The, the,
County Road
the
Bridge.
County Road Bridge is
Oh, okay.
one of those,
Is wood.
yeah,
Okay, thank you.
so,
Painted or stained or preserved.
Right.
creosote, there.
Yep.
Be creative.
Okay, next is general government buildings, and does Diane need to be asked to come on? also?
Yes, I'll go get it.
I don't have general government buildings.
Maybe she's bringing it with her. I'll be right back. She does want to come in.
Hang on. I may have spoken too soon.
Well, one of these, I think, is gonna be a warrant article that I have
Yeah,
for the front entrance.
yeah.
My original number I gave you, I actually got to reduce because I got a different thing for the automatic opener, so.
You don't have that one. She's bringing it in now. And there's a quote. You have some information here from Jim Bean you dropped off today. The top is about warrant articles, but the bottom is about painting the highway building. So there's a quote for that right here that I have in my
Yeah,
I'll give to you.
right.
Because that will go in the general for things. Thank you.
Thank you.
Building budget.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Excuse me. Good morning. Who wants to begin? Diane, you're the new face here.
So nothing on town office improvements?
Well, what you see, you're gonna see some blanks and you're gonna see some figures that I plugged in. Those things that I plugged in were just known costs to
Every
me,
year.
you know? And those that I left blank, it's improvements and things that may need that need your input to put a number in there. So the town office electric is pretty straightforward. I just took this year's cost and I tacked on 3%, a 3% increase in case there are any increases. They do go up a little bit.
In the winter, they go up.
Mhm.
Well, the first line is town office improvements. What do we put in that line?
Well, I didn't know if you want to go through each one first, like town office electric and heat, and then work
Okay.
way down, because you may not agree with some of those figures that I put in. Like I reduced the first one, town office electric, by $500, because I think we can.
Okay on that one,
And
Mr. Electric Guru?
Well,
unless.
one of the things that we have in the pot this year is replacing some of these.
So the
air
electric might
conditioners.
go up, but the oil might go down, so that's the difference.
Right. So when we replace one of these split air conditioners with a heat pump, then we use that year round, and that's gonna, and the heat pump is an efficient way of providing heat, which should drive down the use of the boiler for some of that. So, when I look at where we've been on electric, I'm fine with 4,500 on the town office. Again, we're in a purchasing agreement now that we're buying our electricity at a lower cost as well. So that should help us out a little bit.
When is that gonna take effect?
Signed it on the 25th of October. When does, I don't recall what
I want to say January 1st, but don't hold me to it.
yeah.
This is with New Hampshire Electric Co-op?
No, this is with some company out of Texas that
Negotiates.
That's that whole power purchase agreement thing.
Right, and I don't really know too much about it. Is it gonna be the same vendor that we're gonna be using or a different vendor?
we're buying it through this third party. It's being delivered, of course, by the co-op because they own the wires. So what we should expect some relief, not huge relief, but some relief in the price that we pay per kilowatt hour. So that's why I say, when I look back at what we spent here over the last 5 years, 4,500 I think we're fine. And if we're over a little bit in the year, we're over a little bit in the year. But again, I think it's, I don't think we have a,
So everyone's happy with 4,500?
So how will we know if that's taking place with our bill?
It should say on the
Will it
bill
say?
to third provider.
I think that, and again, Jeff Hayes is the guy that's the spearhead on this, but I believe what'll happen is the billing is still gonna come through the co-op. But if you look at the bill, where the, and I think we got one in here is that, I don't wanna dig too far into the weeds. It'll be the power supply line, the purchase power line, whatever it's called, will probably identify who we're buying it from as opposed to the co-op. And the rate that we pay is gonna be the contract rate under this purchasing group, rather than the floating rate that the co-op uses.
This is based upon the plan that's been used by Nashua and surrounding towns, and they've had it for 3 or 4 years, and it was modeled after theirs, and it was a success. The only thing that I never got answered is, does it affect three-phase? And I was told it might.
It affects all of the power that we buy in those accounts that are on the agreement. And all of our accounts are on the agreement with the exception of one at the transfer station that somehow got dropped off, that we don't, that runs the fuel pump over the shed. And we don't, and all we pay is basically the customer charge because it never gets used.
28, 29 bucks.
Yeah, so,
I understand they sent the addendum to Lloyd, that must have got lost in email, and they're gonna send me a new one.
all right, to add that account in?
Yeah.
Oh, good. All right. So, if we look at town office heat,
I reduced it.
yes, you did.
How much?
And I would say, I would add another $500 back in.
We-
Again, just looking, you know, oil prices are up and down over time, but as we go back, when they were higher, we were 60.
We're locked
we're
in.
locked in.
We're locked in
That's what
at
I
a
was-
price.
yeah.
We are locked in at a price, that's right.
But it's only till
But-
May something, isn't it?
Yeah,
Right.
I
yeah.
thought we did a
So,
12-month contract.
As recently
Yeah,
as
it was
2015, we paid $4,500, okay? So, I guess that's just my quick and dirty on that. Again, we can leave it at $4,000 and probably be fine.
Does the board want to leave it at 4,000 or 4,500, Chip?
Yeah, I think 4 is plenty.
Okay. Next line. Office, town office maintenance.
Now, I left it the same because I didn't know if there were any inside maintenance that needed to be done, that maybe Jack might.
Well, you got windows,
Windows will be next year, yeah.
right? So do you have a price on windows or a budget?
Yeah, from the last price. I don't have it in front of me.
I have some prices for the townhouse for last year. They were for the townhouse.
Yeah, we did those last year.
Well, those are windows themselves. That was replacing the windows of the townhouse. Those
Right.
didn't get cleaned.
This is different.
They got washed, this is
Just-
cleaning out there.
Oh, cleaning, excuse me.
Cleaning.
I thought you meant this.
Well, I have replacement for here.
But these
Separate.
little swing out windows are all deteriorated.
It's not gonna rot out yet, that's why I have a price on those, I have that right here.
I think it was 2,400 last, that quote that I had on last year. I think it's a lot.
I think it's 24.
Is 5,000 enough? What is the board's feeling?
No, we don't know what the cost of windows is.
Okay.
Well, the windows, these windows, and they won't swing sideways, they'll actually be awning, but looking at them, they'll be the same. So if it rains out, they're not out in the weather, they're out. And those will be vinyl out and in, so the inside will be white and the outside will be white, so there won't be any maintenance to them. And they don't come with outside casings, they ask you to put in all that. So the windows themselves are $350 to $1 a piece, just the window itself.
All right, so how many windows we got?
Well, we have a lot, but I don't think you should do them all at the same time. I was thinking about starting on the police side. There's 4 of them over there, of
Okay.
this size window.
$1,500.
So I was thinking of putting in $2,500 for windows and fixing some rot around the building.
Okay,
So should do
Okay.
How much?
2,500.
And we're gonna put that in maintenance? Is that where we're
Town office maintenance?
I don't know where it goes. It
Well, we've got a line, okay, just
These are
to,
improvements.
just to walk through this a little bit. Given the numbers that we have with the blanks, you came up with $96,213, correct? For a total, grand total,
I'm not following.
this number?
and that includes none of the improvements.
Right. So last year's budget was 139,000. I mean, should we be looking at the improvements and maybe take the air conditioning for 13,000 and put that into improvements with
Yeah.
5,000 for the windows or
Yeah.
2,500 for the windows?
And then we have a warrant article for the front entrance.
Yeah,
Yep.
we can even put the front entrance on there as far as I'm concerned, and we'd still be under budget.
And
but
that's
you wanna
that's
leave that
20
alone.
grand for the front entrance.
Right. I don't know what the policy is with regard to big improvements like the front entrance, but I think the air conditioners and the windows could easily fit on this line.
Improvements, correct, yeah.
Under town office improvements?
Right.
Yeah.
And what would that be?
So 2,500
So 15.5,
plus whatever,
13 for the air conditioners and 25, so 15.5.
Okay,
I have no problem with that.
yep.
Town office maintenance stays at 5,000, right?
No, I think you want to reduce that because if you're not gonna,
well, the maintenance gonna be the window washing. Give me a second, I'll get you the exact price.
Well, the office cleaning is in that at 2,600.
right, I put the known costs in the narrative.
Security at 4, that's
All right.
3. Inspection at 4, that's 34. And now is there window washing as well?
Yes, there's window washing for the town offices, that
We
gets
get
done every
Brady
year.
Morrison to do it.
Well-
I was thinking the same.
And again, I'm just looking back here. There were years that we spent 17,000 in maintenance, and I'm not saying that we should do that, but in 2016, we spent 6,800. 2015, we spent 6,400. We budgeted 5 grand this year. We may not use all of that. I don't think we should just keep driving this number down. What we're doing is we're squeezing stuff out
Right.
that we need to do to keep the buildings up.
So what should town office maintenance be, Bill?
We had 5 this year. I wouldn't go below 5.
I have no problem leaving it at 5. Chip?
Yeah, if we could get the window number.
It was 1,400, the original estimate they gave me the first time they did it, and there was an added cost because a lot of these storm sacks were painted in. But he said that wouldn't happen again because they cut them all out, so they're loose now. And it was like fund.
So it's gonna run pretty tight.
So it was 13, yeah, there was this, let me see, clean it, yeah.
Five's fine, but we gotta understand that we're gonna spend all of it.
Yeah,
Because it,
So it's $1,500.
it's
That's a little bit over the
$1,500,
last time, so that should.
$4,900
Yep.
in known numbers, so.
Yep.
So that's, 5 is pretty, is good then.
Yep. Town office grounds maintenance?
5 is tight.
Are you comfortable with it?
It is tight.
Well, I'm only saying, you know, we have a storm door that breaks like we did this year. There's a few $100 right there, and we're over. I'm fine leaving it there as long as we understand
Okay,
that.
I guess the other question would be, if we're gonna continue the discussion, is do it like Jack's truck. What if the $22,000 replacement of the entrance doesn't pass? What are we gonna do then? I mean, is that gonna increase the maintenance costs?
Yeah, the front doors are getting tired.
Yeah.
Really
So
tired,
should
so.
we couch that line with an expectation of maybe not getting the warrant article? I mean, should we put it at 7,500? Hope for the best. I'm just talking out
Yep.
the concept here, I don't know.
Yeah, probably.
So, I hate to plan for failure, but I think putting some, no, I mean,
Oh, sorry.
quite honestly,
Yeah.
but I think you know, we're on a fool's errand if we
I
don't
would
have
ask-
enough
I would
to.
probably, $1,500 to it.
Okay, so you're 1,500, so you're saying 6,500?
Yeah.
All right, I'm good with that.
I have no problem.
And if it, you say it doesn't use that, I can find some other place to use it. Believe me, there's still a lot to be done, you just can't do
Yep.
it all in here, so.
Well, and maybe we, you know.
We might gotta do another window
We
with it.
may
or
be able to
something.
get some
Yeah.
more windows out of it.
Correct.
Maybe there's a
Yeah.
deal to be had.
Right.
Okay. Moving on.
So, excuse me, so that line includes window cleaning, right?
Correct.
Yes,
Yep.
okay,
Yeah.
just wanted to confirm that.
Town office grounds maintenance, 6,000.
Yeah, that's gonna have to increase because
You got 72 then in
Shoveling.
fixed costs, plus $100 in trash, 73. So,
What do you
The
folks?
shoveling is, it's based on an hourly rate, it's not a fixed
Right.
cost, so if
Right.
it snows every day, it's.
last year we had a heavy snowfall. So this is a pretty good number for shoveling based on last year's snow.
Right.
We had a lot of snow.
What does the board want to put in for that line?
I couldn't get a fixed price out of them for that,
Yep.
they wouldn't do it, so.
Yep.
I don't blame them.
so we're at 3, 4, 5, 4, 3. And now we're at 6. But the mowing must have really gone up.
And that went up last year, if I remember correctly, we got a new
Mhm.
quote from Corey, yep.
Wow.
All right, I'm gonna suggest we go to 7,000. It's not all that we spent this year, but if we go over, then we're.
Well, still this year, we still had whatever they shoveled recently, and that hasn't come in yet.
Okay,
And we still have another 2.5 weeks to
And
go,
with-
so.
With,
Those 2 snowstorms next week, I believe.
so you think 7,500 is,
I don't know what that bill comes in at, I don't see it, so when it comes in.
well, are we contracted on the mowing? Or is that an annual?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a contract.
And how long's the contract good for?
Year to year, I believe.
It
So
doesn't.
we need to, I mean, $5,650 to mow this place is a lot of money, we need to put that out.
And that should have mulch in it and all that as
And
well.
he's got $1,200 worth of lawn care.
Well, he also
So
did the
you got
gardens, we did the gardens.
$6,800,
All the damage.
$7,000 in lawn care here.
And some of that is the,
I don't spend that on my estate.
some of that's the fertilizer, I believe, too.
No,
Yeah.
I broke that separately. Lawn
Okay.
care, I called it lawn care, $1,200.
For fertilizer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And then
What's-
$56.50.
What's the whole fertilizer, what's the whole, their whole bill?
$300 and something, and a third goes to it's charged to the cemetery.
Right, so, yeah. Should be other, we should get up there, they should be getting it as well.
But this is our share, the 1,200 is just our share.
So it's 3,600 a year?
Yeah. I don't know what the total is, but our share is 1,200.
So it's
So the question is, what percentage is our share? I mean, it's a contract that we have with this guy.
Right.
And we say, okay, so this much of it goes to the cemetery and this much of it goes to,
That's the-
66% we absorb.
how much?
We do 2/3, it
Two-thirds?
should be the other way around, but they didn't want us, I remember when we brought that up, they didn't want it.
So 2/3, so the cemetery mowing is also?
No, we're talking about the
Just
fertilizer.
Okay. Where are we? We started at.
The problem
7.
is
Wanna stay at 7?
Based
All right,
on.
all right,
Based
let's
on.
move this thing
based
forward.
on-
$7,500, we're not gonna,
In order to change the mowing contract, it has to be done now. You can't do it in the spring and then have someone expect to be mowing this, and that's part of their job for the year, and all of a sudden it goes
Okay,
away.
all I'm saying is that it's, it's a
We should bring it up
$7,000 contract.
next spring, we should bring it up for the following year.
Yeah.
Can't do it at the beginning of the year when someone expects that as part of the yearly work, so.
yeah, all right. So, is everybody okay with 7,500 for grounds maintenance?
Yes.
So we've done,
Okay.
We've already gone over the town office improvements, townhouse electricity.
The improvements is 15.5, right?
right.
15.5, right?
We got windows and air conditioning, I come up with 38.
What?
No,
No.
15.5.
15,000.
Oh, 15,000.
Yeah, 13,000 for the new air conditioning and 2,500 for the windows.
Yep.
Is that still that figure, Jack? Because I know you said the police station got done, right?
Yeah, but we're gonna do another one, we're gonna put one in this
Oh,
one.
you said that, yep, okay.
Yep.
1,300 for the air conditioning.
1,000,
13,000.
the 30.
2,500.
Okay, 15,500, okay.
Are we all set on that line?
Mhm.
Townhouse electric.
This is an election year, does that make a difference?
Not usually. The lights are all fluorescent, so they don't really
Yeah.
burn much. You might burn us another
You haven't,
couple £100 of pellets, but
Yeah, that's,
I don't know how close the pellet the heat is up there.
It's 1,800 right now, and we just got, I
You
just
you
paid.
just got a bill? You just got one, yeah, 'cause they just sent it to you.
Mhm.
And that's included in that?
No, that was just for the boiler.
That's the maintenance.
Cleaning the boilers.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
know
what
if
I
that-
got.
I don't know if they're gonna take that out of the boiler heat, or we gonna take it out of the maintenance.
well, you get boiler maintenance at $125 on the next line.
I don't know where you take
The last time it was November, so I paid Maine Energy Systems
Right,
$463
correct,
in
and
November.
probably one more.
So that should last us till the end of December,
Probably not.
no?
What line are we on?
Okay.
Townhouse heat or townhouse electric?
Heat.
okay.
So I don't know what comes out of that line. Did you take the cleanings and stuff out of that line, or they come out of the building maintenance?
Building
They were in
maintenance.
building maintenance.